could you please relay the same message to all these rappers I see going on TV and saying hip hop does not sell? I'm like, how you guys stuck in a negative feedback loop about the same thing that you do? Like, I make money from hip hop. I don't know how you say that we don't make money from this genre. Like, people always go on TV and talk about how hip hop is this, hip hop is that. It's like they're stuck in a negative loop. That when you begin mentioning examples of how hip hop makes money in this culture and in this country, you're like, oh, I never thought about that. But you're supposed to be the first ambassador for this that we do. But when you see these people on NTV,
I'm laughing because there've
NBS,
been instances, for example, where I've said things along the lines of the media industry, for example. TV, radio doesn't pay as well as it should in Uganda. And for me, what you're saying, I would say from that same context of the hip-hop industry in Uganda doesn't pay as well as it should or it can. For many.
Yes.
You know,
for many. Yes.
And that is their reality. And I think it's okay for them to express that. I just feel like maybe what you're saying is to generalize it, to make it seem like, tomorrow if someone, Bella, wanted to join hip-hop, she's not going to make money from it.
Because the reason why I say that is I've had a country tour where I collected 250 days. And then the next year I went and did the same thing and made 300. And then I've had promoters come to me and pay me lump sums of money. I've had people endorsements. But before, and I'm saying this because before any of that ever happened, the narrative was, your music takola wano. That they like told my manager, told whoever was organizing the show, they told the events person, they told the sponsor, they told everybody. So it took more legwork for us to be like, you know what, just believe in us first, we know what we're talking about. But because we know what we're talking about and you see the potential and you see the crowds out there that are invisible to most of the mainstream media. Because they used to say, hip-hop tajuza chisawe, tasola kujuza chisawe. Oyo mwana akoze mistake. And I just be like, but I'm in Kasubi, I'm in Nakawa, I'm in Makere,
Help me check on.
Like you're in all these places and you're seeing how people are singing your songs lyric by lyric. Like,
you know, I get it.
So it's for me, that's something that's my personal experience.
Yes, I was going to say, sometimes one thing that I've learned over the last 3 years, life has humbled me, I will not lie, is there are things someone can say from privilege. You know? And then there are things, another perspective will bring to the table that from your angle, you don't understand why someone would say that. Do you know that there is someone who has probably been doing this hip-hop thing longer than you and I, and they've never gotten even close to 1 million shillings? And it's not because the genre can't make that money or the music that they're doing can't make that money. They just don't have the technical know-how or know-who to make that happen. So that's where now things like skilling or these workshops come in handy, because they bridge the gap between a one-day moment for this guy's life to be turned around.
I was telling you about how much money we made from this hip-hop game. And actually, even after I came back, I've just been turning away shows.
Must be nice.
It must be nice. It must be nice.
No, but
it's not, I'm not turning them away because Sizagala. It's because brand ekuze. And I believe the production I want to give my fans is different.
It's different,
Yeah, but I also understand the other angle you're talking about.
You sowed the seeds.
You
sowed the seeds, so you can do that. You know why I want to make that very clear? I work a lot with the young artists, like I mentioned. And one of the things that has really been mind-boggling for me is turning away shows before you even do a show.
You can't.
And then still expecting to be considered to be booked.
Yes.
People are booked based off of recommendation. I saw that guy on stage 3 times and
nice.
Each time killed it. Now, if you're turning away shows, maybe because the money is not, your worth, which I understand, you know. Sometimes you have to also be aware of your worth. But also understand the point in the career that you are at.
Yes.
If you tell me you've turned away the show because it does not align with your values or with your brand as an artist, I can understand that.
Or the sponsor does not align with what I believe in.
I personally, when I was doing TV, radio, even music, I don't do alcohol brands because I don't drink.
Yes.
But that's just a personal thing.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So if someone explains to me from that angle, I get it.
Yes.
But if you're just telling me I turned away a show to turn away a show, and then 3 months down the line you're telling me, I don't know why guys don't book me. It's crazy.
Yes.
People who are turning away shows or people who are being picky and selective with the kind of work that are doing, some of them have already sowed the seeds and have built up their brand to where it is. Others have a unique style that they want to stay representing and a lane that they want to stay in, and you cannot just sway them to do anything.
Yes.
And others are, it's a morality thing. If you don't lay in any of those three categories that I've just mentioned,
take the show.
Get the experience.
Get the money.
Get the money.
Network. And here's the thing too, like most of these things, and I'm not saying this to brag, but sometimes you just turn away the show because your time is better used doing something else than traveling to Mbarara for a fee, which you don't think is worth your time.
Which is why I said some people have sown the seeds.
Yeah, but I've also seen, the point you made earlier where you said, oh, gee, you're telling me about all these things you did and the money that you guys made out of this. But there are people out of this music. I'm not oblivious of that fact. But I wanted to also highlight that when that person is right to express their story of Gamma Man, the hip-hop Sam Kolamu Center. But I know people who are in the advertising world right now, right? Where every advertising idea or even dressing up character or even like the way that they're thinking and the way that they're strategizing, they got all of that from hip-hop. So hip-hop, it transcends just the music. Naberanga, I know people in education who go to international schools and teach in these schools. Ngatakolanga yo hit ya hip-hop wa dejo. But they're a teacher, and what do they teach? They teach character, they teach confidence, they teach team building, they teach like so many things. Dance. This person is a leader of like 20 teachers who do that. To me, that is hip hop. Like when I'm thinking about hip hop Takola Center, I'm like, but how about this example of this guy that I know? How about this designer that I know? How about this advertising executive that I know? How about this guy that I know doing like Nzendaba examples where I take it from the thing of Bampiso kugenda ku stage okuyimba, that I'm called to be on stage and booked to be on stage. I'm talking about I was booked to speak, I was booked to curate, I was booked to produce, I was booked to do this campaign, I was booked to teach, to design a behavior change communication campaign. These are things that rappers are doing. There's a rapper I know who also failed to make a hit. Then we had a speech, then we had a heart-to-heart conversation. Every time I'm hearing what you're saying, right? I don't see the hustle in you. Because you can tell that this person is not on top of their hustle. But I knew that this guy was great at copywriting. Right now, alimu copywriting, alimu advertising. That's his calling. But where does he get his energy, his drive, and his inspiration? It's all hip-hop.
Right.
So
that is such
that's my perspective.
That's a very valid point. And I guess for that person who I was representing, who cannot relate to what you're saying, it would be a sort of wake-up call in the sense of how can I evolve? What can I change? Because sometimes they may not have had a hit ever, or they may not have experienced the things you're talking about because of the comfort zone. Right? I remember having a very deep conversation with Yala, and she told me the kind of music I was doing, I realized it was going to take a while for Ugandans to appreciate. So I carried it from here, and I took it to where I felt
and there's a very important statement which you've been referring back to, and I felt there's that statement of like here in Uganda, here in Uganda, here in Uganda. Yet, Nsimbi Cynthia and the Ninja C brand, and this I think is for all of the other artists that listen to us, right? Like, your fans might not be local.
Right.
They might not be here.
Yeah.
So people might comment about how this and that, but at the end of the day, you need to recognize that maybe, just maybe, I have 100,000 fans from Kampala. Tugambe na 10,000 from Kampala. And then I'm going to collect another 1,000 from Nairobi, Kinshasa. And before you know it, this whole thing that's called Ninja is all over. It's global.
Yeah.
Because they understand the message, they understand who you are, they understand your humor and what you're giving them. I've seen brands Ninja Zamba artist wanonga. You're not supposed to be local. No matter how many times they tell you kuyimba nyimba ze chibala and how to convince people here to like you, like what you're creating is so unique, it belongs somewhere totally different.
Yeah.
You don't need to expand no gamba. You know what? Here, I'm only looking for one travel opportunity. And that's what, to go showcase what I do. And yeah.
And that's what happened with Yala.
Yeah.
So all that to say that, like, I guess this discussion, hopefully, I would want to see it yield an open-mindedness.
Yes.
But also bridging the gap between what we know and what is possible.
Yes, yes.
Because for some people, it stays in their mind,
yes,
or they haven't even fathomed it.
Yes.
And maybe that is why I told you there's a strong needle in me. I know I said focusing on women, just because as women, there are also other things that we need to delve into.
Yeah.
But there's a strong needle in me that's really pushing me in that direction of empowerment, motivation.
Yes, yes, yes.
Skilling.
Yes.
Because what you and me are talking about seem
to
like,
yeah.
to some people, they're like, huh?
Yeah.
I have an audience. Where? How do I even get that
how
information?
Do I even get to it? How do I
even get where?
Well,